So while Matt was having a lot of fun at sea, Eric and I were on land in the Land of Origins Game Fair 2018.
Yes.
I'm going to announce that. Well, I'm going to be an announcer one day. I don't. Anyway, so we went to Origins, obviously. You know what? We're going to start off and say that if you said hi to us, it was awesome. I think we got noticed more times in Origins than we've been noticed at every other convention added together.
Just kind of weird sometimes, yeah.
I think they noticed Eric as much as me. I was like, this is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe posting videos on YouTube again actually is working. But I think actually, you know what really did it? And I bet they would have noticed you too, Matt, is that the top 10.
Yeah, the top 10
was literally not that long ago. Because typically it's like in late December, and I think I posted it like in
so
April.
Late, right? I think we did it in November. Or maybe it was December.
No, we recorded it in November, yes.
Oh, no, we recorded like second week of December.
Did we?
Because I was going to post it like a week after.
Okay.
And I did not get around to that. But it worked out. I thought it was pretty neat. I mean, we had a lot of people actually come up and say stuff. That was actually, it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's pretty, we're celebrities.
Yay.
We can retire now. Now, so we played a lot of demos. We did a lot of normal stuff you would do, such as spending tons of money. You know what? I didn't spend that much of money, Eric. I don't know what you spent, but we did the math trade, which if you tuned into our last episode, we talked about all the games you got for that. So we're just going to put that to the side. If you want to know, just listen to that episode. That was pretty interesting. So anyway, let's talk about, all right. So Friday, we got up super early.
We did like 5:45, or I got earlier than 5:45 because I picked you up at 5:45.
Yeah. And I just want to say for the record that this may have been the first convention that I was up and ready and Eric was late.
I wasn't late.
What time did you get my house?
Wasn't I here at 5:45? 5:50?
I don't remember, but all right. More importantly, I was prepared.
Yes. All right.
Not that you weren't, but I was prepared. Typically, this does not work out that way.
We got to wait for Tim, right?
Yep.
So that was pretty cool. You know, we drove up there, obviously. We went on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We did not go Wednesday and Thursday. And you know what, Matt? All these years, I did not know. Apparently, the vendor area is not open on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So what's the point of going?
Well, the gaming area is open.
Oh, the gaming. Okay,
so
I
I think there's events happening, and plus, you know, the other gaming halls are open, just not the big vendor area.
Yeah, no, yeah, they got all their gaming rooms
Yes.
open and everything. Okay.
This year was slightly different. The vendor hall was in the middle, and you had the gaming areas on both sides.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so I guess they could set that up however they want. So they just carpet it different areas. That's not a always
they
carpeted
put these
area.
room divider. Right.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that by talking to some of the vendors that were there, they were saying it's kind of like good and bad. It's good for Origins because it makes more traffic patterns. So it means that more booths in the vendor hall are actually getting traffic more so than they would have in the past.
Right.
Because people are cutting from, like, say, for instance, Hall A was one gaming area where Cool Mini or Not was and all that other stuff. And then Hall B was the actual vendor hall. And then Hall C is where, like, the Dice Tower was and Mayday and I think Reaper Miniatures and Malifaux. So, like,
okay.
it was like the vendor area was plopped in the middle now instead of being on one end, and then you go to the rest of the stuff. So what was interesting about that is that you had to you can come in the front, right, and see all the vendors that are real close to you, like up in front.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you're crossing across the halls, you're doing it at a the horizontal, and you're going across the middle of the vendor hall to get from Hall A to C. So more booths in the vendor area, we're seeing more traffic. So what that means is Origins is able to sell more premium spots, because, there's a lot more premium spots than just the open door rush of the entrances.
The front, right.
Yeah. They had like all these other entrances now. So instead of just 2 in the front, now you have 4 or 2 on each side too. So you literally have 6 spots. So there's so much more people visiting booths now. But the only problem is they were kind of complaining because they spent years to get to the front.
Gotcha.
So now we get to the front. Now you open up all these other paths, and it's not as valuable. So
right.
I don't know what'll happen. I think they'll work it out. But it was just cool because there was just so much more. I don't know. People were more happy.
And one thing I don't know if it helped, but putting the other hall on the other side, because that one hall just seemed like endless, and you kind of wouldn't even realize what was in the back. So I don't know if that, which it was usually probably like the bigger, the bigger companies. So I don't know if it mattered anyways. They probably would have got their traffic regardless.
Are you talking about the end of the gaming halls?
Well, because what it used to just be that one hall. I guess it's called the gaming hall, where like you had the dice tower.
Right.
The Reaper miniatures and all that.
Or Mayfair games and stuff was.
Right. And it just seemed like
tier.
I don't remember ever walking towards the very back of that and even seeing what's back there.
Part of the back of this one was a big gaming area at Cabs.
Oh, okay.
They had you can get a ribbon and go back there and play all weekend.
Oh, gotcha.
It's kind of like their library type thing.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's $20 for it, and you can go back there and play as much as you want.
And what did you say, tiers for Mayday?
Oh, yeah, they're not there. They're gone.
Yeah.
Remember? Mayfair.
Oh, Mayfair.
Mayfair.
Sorry.
Yeah,
yes.
Mayday was there. They actually had a really funny game. I don't know if you checked the Instagram. You get a skillet.
Right.
And you get all these like plastic pancake tokens in it.
That's a memory game.
And you're like spinning around, and then you flip it like you're flipping pancakes.
And you're supposed to tell what's what?
Right.
Other people are supposed to watch.
Yeah, you watch and you're like, there's some kiwi, flip. Oh, I think that one was kiwi, because now they moved because they flipped around.
Right.
Stuff. Anyway, it's so gimmicky.
Okay.
But
it comes with a nice little skillet.
The skillet's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's plastic, but it looks good and it's lightweight. If you're playing it with like a cast iron skillet, the game's gonna last about 5 minutes, so you get like muscles. And you start.
Right.
That's a workout.
I think that game's on Kickstarter.
Yeah, I think it's on
perhaps.
Kickstarter, and it's a Korean game.
Right.
Yeah. So, pretty neat. I mean, makes sense coming from Mayday. They've got a lot of different Korean games. I think Chopstick Dexterity Challenge 3000 was, and so was like Chop Top, Woodman, Talk, Gemstone, blah, blah. All the different variations of that.
Coconuts.
Yeah, they bring out a lot of Korean games, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so we'll talk about some of the demos. We won't go heavily into the rules and stuff, but we played Not So Fast.
Not So Fast?
It's it's by Spurkin Laughter Games. This is their new line of like family games and stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it doesn't have the
It's not the dagger?
stabby.
Yeah, there's no take that in it, basically. Essentially, it's just like Ghost Blitz or Jungle Speed, where you have all these different nuts in the middle. They're super chunky.
Yeah, really nice components.
Really nice components. And then you're flipping over cards, and each player takes turns flipping a card, like 2 cards. And if there's like a 4 of a kind, basically, you grab that nut. And there's 1 less nut for each type than the players, except for like the pistachio. I think there's 1 of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's also like a little bit of a party element to it, because sometimes you'll flip a card and it'll just be a number. And then off to the side, you have like 1, 2, and 3, and you randomly for that game put 1 card next to each, and it's a motion. Like for instance, 1 might be like
striking
salute.
a pose.
Yeah, it's like strike a pose. But those poses will change between the rounds and each game. So, you might remember 1, you see a 1 flip out, and you're like, oh, it's a salute, or it's maybe a hand up in the air. But that was last round. So it's got that little bit of a party aspect to it. So that was pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about gizmos earlier in this episode, so we won't go into that. Eric, you want to talk about the mind?
Sure. The first time we played it a little bit wrong, but it was actually a lot better than
we were taught it wrong. Let's just start with that.
It was a lot better than I actually envisioned it, I guess. So there's a deck of 1 through 100 cards, 1 through 100. And then you start off with a certain amount of life and a shuriken or a ninja star. So in this game, you're trying to get through a certain amount of levels. The first level, everybody gets 1 card, and you can't talk. And you're trying to place the numbers down lowest to highest without saying anything. So the ninja stars are for everybody can. 1 person can initiate it by holding up their hand. If everybody holds up their hand, you can discard 1. If anybody does put down a card that's higher than a card that someone else already has, you lose a life, but you do continue that round. We played a hard level
We played expert mode.
Expert mode where you restarted the whole level if you messed up at all. We didn't like it that way, but the way that you're supposed to play it, it was pretty good. You just lose a life, you continue that level, and then different levels. Like level 2, if you complete it, you might gain a life. Level 3, you might get another ninja star. But yeah, you just try to make it as far as you can.
Was this the game you were looking forward to? Didn't we do it?
It might have been up there. Yeah,
I'm
think
pretty
it
sure
was.
in the preview you put this in your top.
Yeah.
Or in your preview list.
Okay.
So.
You know what? Here's the thing. People are giving this like an amazing amount of praise, and it is unique. It definitely is. But like, I feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's good, but with the right people.
Yeah, it's gonna probably, yeah. I mean, like most games anyway, it's gonna kind of determine how much you like the game by the people that you're playing with. But maybe more so on this.
Yeah, and I feel like the rules of no communication is slightly loose in everyone's mind, because technically you're not allowed to talk or make any sort of gesture or anything.
Yeah, you can't like hold up fingers.
But people are picking up
like,
cards and
slowly putting it in that.
Yeah,
I kind of like that aspect of it, though.
I do like it too.
Hey, I'm going to put this card in it. If you're thinking that yours is a little low, you might hurry up and do it before I do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the thing is, if you didn't do any of that, you literally just stood there, it would be so robotic and boring.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, actually, I thought it was pretty neat. They were sold out, so we didn't get a copy of it, but not a big deal. I think this is going to be one that's going to be widely available.
Yeah.
And you might actually end up seeing this probably I don't know, you might see this in retail. Honestly.
Yeah, well, I would think so.
Yeah, it's a pretty small game, and
maybe Target pick it up or something.
Yeah. So other than that, we these prototypes we kind of just played throughout the weekend, so I'm not really talking about what we did on each day. But on Friday, we did meet up with Josh Sprung and his wife, Karen.
Mm-hmm.
And he's the designer of Yashima, and he helps out with Arcane Wonders. He likes to help them out with the booth and stuff. But we went and had dinner at Lily Plus Thai, I think it's called. That was pretty good.
It was good, right. It was like a East meets West Asian fusion type of place. Get some ramen or...
Is that within walking distance?
Whoa, it's like 15-minute walk.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 6 blocks up, but yeah, you can walk there.
I want to say we ate there with the time that I'm forgetting our friends' names. Who did we go with the first time?
Daniel and Jeremy. I'm
thinking we ate there then.
I don't know. It was Asian.
We did go up to the North Market once.
No, it was its own little.
Maybe we did. I don't remember it
place.
Too well.
Yeah. I think we did. I don't know. Go on.
Well, anyway, so we ate there. Then we went back to their hotel because it was real close. Josh sold us one of his prototypes. We won't talk about it because he is looking to get that published, and I don't know. I can't remember how much he said he wanted me to talk about it. So. But it was entertaining. It was pretty decent. So hopefully somebody picks that one up. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
pretty decent.
It was pretty good.
Yeah. And then the next day that was pretty much Friday. We just did whatever. Saturday we woke up early and we were like, all right, let's get to our parking garage because it's like right there next to the math trade, and they have this really cool face which we'll get back to in a little bit. But then the Pride Parade happened.
Yes, it always happens that weekend, I guess.
Apparently, yeah. And then they cut off like the street, so we parked like in this parking garage on Vine Street, which is like at the north end. Is something's going crazy.
Don't know.
So sorry, one of our phones was making some noise through the probably just the headset. It probably won't pick up on the recording. Anyway, but we parked on Vine Street, and we had. This is the heaviest amount of games we've ever taken to Origins for Math Trade. It was exhausting. We got there. We were late.
What was the weather like there? Was it hot?
Yeah, it was pretty warm.
Yeah, it was stay indoors.
Yeah, stay indoors. We didn't go outside very often.
Yeah, no. So we get to the Math Trade. We're about 10 minutes late. Actually, we're really not that late. I think we showed up at 9:50, and that's the time it starts.
Right.
It's just
we wanted to get there early, but we didn't get there early. We got there on time.
Yeah. People blew up Eric's phone, which he forgot in his car.
Yay.
Yeah. Anyway, then we traded, right? So if you didn't realize this from last episode, we traded far less games than what we received, and then some of it was actually cash too. So we bought games essentially. It was about an hour to get back to the car. We literally had to walk about 50 feet, stop, put everything down.
It was so
rest.
heavy.
It was ridiculous. If you're wondering how ridiculous, check out our Instagram at Meeple. It's at MeepleCore, and it might be like 10 or 15 pictures back, but you'll see just a plethora of games in these IKEA bags. That's what we were carrying. It was exhausting. Like we could have just went back to the hotel at that point. We're done with the day. That's fine. And yeah, we'll come back to the car too, because we filled that thing up, Matt.
We did. The trunk was full. The back seat was full. The floorboard was full.
It's a good thing I didn't go.
We would have taken a different vehicle.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it would have been an interesting ride back. Then we'll see what happens with the Matt trade with Gen Con.
Yeah. We're gonna have to rent a little bus or something.
Yeah, get like a VW van.
Yeah.
A trailer.
Oh, that might work. That might work too. Well, anyway, some of the other games we played, we went to the Ice Cool How to Flick School, apparently.
Right. So much learning happened.
No, okay, so we walked up to Brain Games and we played Picoco. Right, we'll come back to that. After we played Picoco, we were standing there looking at Ice Cool 2. They were sold out. We didn't feel like demoing it, so we were just messing around with it because they had both
Ice Cold 2 wasn't even there.
Oh, was it not?
No.
Oh, well, they had it set up
But
with
they had
Ice
it set
Cold
up.
1.
Right.
Anyway, one of the guys that worked there came over and was showing us how to flick, and we're like, we are amateurs. I didn't realize there was this much. There was like 15 ways to flick the penguin.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
He was like, yeah, if you want to flick it, up, pop it up, I do this. If you want to, and I knew, there's ways to flick it where you make it curve
around.
over, right? But he was like, you can just do this with your finger as well. You do the come here motion with your finger.
Like, come hither.
Like, yeah, here.
He's like, come hither. And it was like perfect every time.
Right.
We're like, what? He was doing this weird flick where he would, like, normally you would just flick it like you're flicking, like normal flicking games, but you hit the head really hard to make it pop up.
Right.
He was doing it to where, like, you put your finger on its head and just, like, push down, and it just, like, pops it up in the air. And there's another one where, like, take it, like, picture you're flicking a coin with your thumb.
Right.
You hit hit the head, and that thing, it's, like, a lot more powerful. It is not as accurate, though. Anyway, so in 5 minutes, we became better players.
Yeah.
And we got to look through the Ice Cold 2 book. And basically, Ice Cold 2 is identical to the first one other than the player colors and the fact that the fish tokens that you put on top of the hallways, they're actually plastic now.
Yeah, they said they were more durable than the wood ones.
Which makes sense because I kind of felt like sometimes that might have broke with the way you're putting them on there. But
I think one of yours did right.
Oh, yeah, and I glued it back together.
Right.
Yep. There's like 5 or 6 ways to build the map in the book, and you can do other ways, and I think there's even a race variant where you can race. So I don't know, man. I thought about getting rid of Ice Cool, but maybe I'll get Ice Cool 2 and just combine them like Voltron. Anyway, Eric, tell us about Picoco.
Oh, so with Picoco, it's it is a trick-or-taking game, but you don't see your hand. Basically, you're playing the hand to your the neighbor to your left, and you have one random trump suit. So in the start of the game, everybody is going to bid on everybody's hand. So you're saying, I think Tim's going to win 2 tricks. So, you put these 2 lit chits. I think you start with, it's probably based on player count. I think 8. So you're like...
I think we had 5 players, just to throw that out there.
So you're like, all right, Tim's going to do 2 tricks. Man, I think you're going to win 3 tricks. And then you bet on yourself last. You do see whatever everybody else bid on you, and you don't have to put out every chip, because if you are correct at the end of the game, you play it through. If you're correct, I think you get 2 points if you hit it exactly right, and then 1 point if you are one off. If you're more than one off, then you don't get any points. You also get like a bonus card where you can say, I think with Tim, I think I got it exactly right. And if you are, you get +3, or you can just use a card that
Gives you
plus
1
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically that's the game. You played around. It was good. The pieces, the fanning of the peacocks, those pieces were really nice. The gameplay,
they were nicer than I thought they were going to be.
He said he was they worked like 2 years to make it.
Just that
That
component.
piece. Yeah.
Wow.
They went through so many, I guess, variations. But they did a good job.
Yeah, I was actually I guess I didn't know where I put this in my preview. Remember that one?
Yes.
Yeah, so I put it in the preview and I was gonna go buy it, and honestly we forgot about checking like that area of the vendor hall, and then they were sold out. So it was really saddening, but it is what it is. I don't know, it's a really interesting trick taking game. It's interesting to wrap your head around it.
Yeah, you can't see your cards, but you can see everybody else's.
Yeah, crazy. We went to another booth that makes Unreal Estates. It's like Game Salute. Oh, what? Not Game Salute. What's it say over there? Yeah, there we go. I see the logo in my head, but I can't remember the name.
Grand Gamers Guild.
Yeah, Grand Gamers Guild. So they make Unreal Estate. We played that. They had 2 other games. One was Pocket Ops and Stroop.
Mm-hmm.
So Pocket Ops is essentially tic-tac-toe, but you have a deck of cards that represents each of the spaces of tic-tac-toe, and you play those when the other person's making a decision, and if you pick the right square that they were going to go to, you capture them, and it kills their piece. It sounded, I was like, there's no way this is good. And then we played it, and I was actually really surprised.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad for what it is. Very light game. You do get, one thing that kind of helps it a lot is you do every round, and you play multiple rounds. You start with a special piece, and that, they have 8 different special pieces or 7 different special pieces, and each one of them has a special power. So if you get this down, you might be able to swap with an opponent's chip, or you might be able to push it, or there's a couple different ones. You might have 2 guesses every round instead of 1. So
it's a small little game, too. It fits in the palm of your hand.
Yeah, that sounds neat.
But they had a really big version of it. So it's like,
that we played, right.
It's like a 3x3 board. It's like just sitting up off the side with magnets and stuff. The game that you just picked up, Matt, that Unreal Estate, it's kind of like a set collection, not really set collection, but there's a tableau in the middle. You pick a card. The cards are basically just numbers, and so you're drafting it from the middle. All the cards that aren't drafted go up, and then later on on your turn, you can either play a card to try to score it, or you can pick another card up. So like, for instance, if 2 rounds nobody picks, like maybe 2 threes, like 2 threes the first round and a 3 the second round. Now there's 3 threes up there. So when you play threes from your hand, you score that many points times that many cards. And that's like most of the game. And then you just keep playing until the deck runs out so many times for number of players. It was good enough for me to buy it.
Yeah, and then there's some special cards that come up that do different things.
Little powers and stuff. And then Stroop, I don't even know if I can explain
Not
this.
just yet. We'll have to.
We're going to have to play it again.
Right.
It is a small little card game that's doing really well for them. The cards literally just have a word like blue, but it's written in like yellow.
Oh, it's okay.
It's the Stroop effect.
Yes.
It's a real-time game. So you flip a card out in the middle and you say go, and then everybody's flipping through the cards in their hand. Basically, everybody gets an even amount of cards. And you're trying to play stuff on there that matches a characteristic but can't be like the same word.
Right, okay.
So if it says 3, you might play.
No, there's no 3. It's all colors. It would just be 3 letters.
I thought there was a 3. There's 3s and 6s.
Was there?
Yeah.
Did it say the word 3?
Right. So you can.
Oh yeah, there was one that said 5. Never mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was just colors, but maybe I'm wrong.
So you can play the word big because it has 3 letters in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Or or I play this one because it's hollow and the card is written in hollow. I don't even know how to explain it.
Right. Yeah. We'll have to go through the rules just again, just to make sure we got it right before
It was
trying
good.
to spout out all the rules. But
it was good we had a judge, which was the designer. He was
Right.
like, "Oh, nope, pause. Nope,
Nope.
you're wrong."
No, you can't play this. It says hollow. You can't play this because it's red or.
We
or
play crazy deep games,
Right.
and this small little game was destroying our faces. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, anyway, got review copy of that.
I destroyed Tim, by the way.
I lost so bad. I'm obviously hindered by the Stroop effect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then we played Reef,
Yeah.
Emerson,
That was like-
Mitsuchi.
Oh, really? Okay.
For some reason, that just kind of went under the radar for us, I think, because I didn't even see it on the.
Yeah,
On
and
the
I don't
preview
remember
or
seeing it
anything?
on the previews, right?
we finished the game. I was like, that was pretty awesome. And then we looked, it was Emerson.
Yeah.
Dude, he is knocking it out the box. We did meet up with him on Sunday. And what's cool is he actually listens to the podcast.
Oh.
Like to the
Hey-
point where he actually.
Hey, Emerson.
Hey, Everson. Yeah, you probably listen to this. He really, really, man, this is awesome.
What?
He loved the super fight battles that we did.
Oh my God.
We're going to do more, Tim.
Prepare.
All right.
We're gonna start a new topic on here that's gonna be like live gaming or something, because I don't know. It sounds pretty. It was interesting. It was different. I don't think any other podcast does live gaming on their podcast.
Yeah.
No, I mean there was obviously limitations to that, but if you have anything you want us to play live on the podcast,
Splendor.
let us know. Yeah, Splendor.
Silence.
Yeah. Your podcast was like 45 minutes of silence.
With the person going America every now and then.
America. Every time somebody grabs like
Red, white, and blue.
Right.
America.
America.
Well, anyway, so Reef is a game where you have a select player board that's 5x5,
Sounds about right.
something like that, and then you have like these 4 different colors in the middle. Basically, it's Splendor. No, I'm just kidding, Emerson. It's a game with colors. And,
Game of colors.
yeah.
Yeah.
So you got these 4 crazy good components.
They are
And-
pretty nice. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little tableau off to the side with 3 cards and then a top card on the top of the deck. And on your turn, you basically can take a card or play a card.
Yeah.
And when you take a card, it just goes in your hand. You can take the top deck, but you have to put like some of your victory points
Yeah,
or one
$1.
victory point on the lowest one that's out. Otherwise, when you play a card, it's going to do 2 things. The top half is going to tell you which coral pieces that you take. I
Yeah.
think they're
Basically,
coral.
yeah, they are. Basically, which colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's, blue or red.
Like
that you put down.
take 2 red, take a yellow and a blue, whatever. But you have to put them on your board, and the idea you can place them and you can also stack them. They can stack up to 4 high, and you can have up to 4 cards in your hand. But the second part of the card is a scoring thing, but it is not beneficial to the ones that you just took.
Right.
So it might say if you have 2 stacks of chips or tokens that have red on top, it doesn't matter how tall they are or whatever, then and they're next to each other, then you get points. Or maybe it's like pick your highest green stack and then you score points for every red chip or red token that's around it. So stuff like that. There's like little patterns basically.
Okay.
And you just get points through it and you keep going. What was the in-game condition?
You run out of one of the colors.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then you play one final round where everybody gets to score the cards in their hand, but only once, because the cards in your hand, when you score them, you can score them as many times as that pattern appears in your tableau
Right.
or your little board. I don't know. Anyway, not going too many rules, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
I am super sad that they were sold out. This was fantastic. And the pieces were just chunky. They could have just been tiles. Or
Yeah. And they
chips.
also interlocked as well. I mean,
Yeah.
not like stayed interlocked, but they fit into each other. So
Oh, neat.
when you stack them, so that was a nice touch.
Oh, yeah. Well, in the interest of time, we're going to kind of skip over a couple of these. Well, actually, there's only 3 left. Never mind. We played Barbarian by Greenbrier Games. This was one I was pretty surprised by because I did not think I was going to like it. And then we played it. It was really fun. It basically is a game where... Did you watch any video about it?
Nope.
Well, anyway, you have dice. You roll them. When you roll the dice, they stay out in front of your shield so everybody can see what values people rolled. And then you put them on the actions behind your board. And some of the actions is to attack another player or to get one of 3 resources and you can spend those resources to buy more dice or buy mercenaries and stuff. It's a lot of attacking each other.
Or defend.
Or yeah, you can defend as well, because if I knew Eric was going to try to steal my victory point and it's first to 7, and you can do something, if you roll a 6 and put it in one spot, you can lock it to where nobody can take it. But you're like, oh man, I'm vulnerable right now because I have a victory point and everybody's greedy. So it's a lot of just punching each other and stabbing each other and stuff. It was quite good.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about that more because we do have a copy of that. We played the Michael Strogoff game. It's based on the Jules Verne novel. We'll talk more about that as well because we got a review copy of it as well. And but apparently I've never read the novel. Did you ever read it?
No, I haven't.
The guy who was demoing it to us did read it, and he told us all kinds of stuff throughout the game on even just minor details. So they got the theme right. It's a press your luck race game, basically. We're trying to move along, and if every time you move a space, you draw hazard cards, essentially.
Right.
And if you draw 2 of the same symbol, you're hindered. You have to clear those off and stuff. But obviously, we'll talk about that more. But the game I want to get to and make sure that we talk about is Nyctophobia. Eric, without even talking about this game, sum it up in one word.
One word?
Or a
Blind.
couple words. Blind.
Blind?
It's vampire, right? So this is the one I was telling you about in the preview, where all the players but one have blinders on. You put black sunglasses on, and you literally are blind.
Yeah.
Okay.
The vampire player who's trying to kill you has no glasses on, and he can see the board, but he's also kind of the narrator because he is restricted to how he can move and stuff like that. So it's not like he's
limited on what he can do. So he's kind of like, he has, I think, some decisions. We didn't play the vampire. We played the people, but he has to go towards noise, or he has to go towards the closest person. He can't attack unless he has a specific card in his hand. So he's trying to get next to you for you to touch him so he can attack you.
Because when it's your turn, he'll grab your finger and put you on the piece of yours, and then you can feel around. And you're like, all right, Eric, to the north, there's like a forest. To the south, there's nothing. To the east, there's nothing. To the west, there's nothing. I'm going to go south, because at the beginning, the whole point of the game, or at least in this scenario, you show up in this forest. For some reason, the vampire has like coerced one of your buddies to come there. I don't know if he's like recruiting him into a cult, trying to turn him into a vampire or whatever.
This one, he already turned him into a familiar.
Oh yeah, so he was like mesmerized by him or whatever. Anyway, we had to go through the forest, find our dude, bring him back to the car, and leave.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think once you get to back to the car, you do leave, but without one of your players dying. You have 2 hit points.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
And a rock.
In a rock. Yeah, you can throw the rock and it'll generate sound where it lands. He's like, you throw the rock and it moves 3 spaces to the east and
it hits the
lands
wall
to the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost like role playing in some way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But
you tell him what you're gonna do.
Yeah. This is straight fantastic. I mean, I was super excited before, but now that I've played it, I don't think this is one of those games I'm gonna buy and play like every game night. But I will definitely. It will probably be one of the first things I show everyone who comes over.
Have you played this game?
Yeah, check this out. Right, it is definitely a game that's going to reward you for playing it multiple times, though, because it is like when you play a deck builder, you've got deck building experience. When you play a worker placement, you've got worker placement experience. It's different, right? Each game you play has like its own unique thing. This is
memory.
This is like different than memory. It's like expanding a skill that you never knew you had.
Yeah, spatial recognition, I think, and memory. So you do get to see the board. You put on your blinders. He puts the familiar in our scenario anyway, and he puts the vampire in a spot, and from there the game goes on.
Yeah.
So, but you kind of see what the layout looked like before that happened.
Yep. Yeah, fantastic. And I loved this earlier, and it kind of skipped over it because I just put Josh's prototypes. We did play another one of Josh's prototypes at Greenbrier's booth for a comic book series, which I did not write the name down. Do you remember?
Orays? I haven't read it, so Rays or Oray?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was, but it's basically based off a comic book, and it's a card-driven game where one player is the good guys, and there's all the other players are villains.
Mm-hmm.
And then so when the villain takes a turn, then it's the good guy's player to do one of his. He's got a good guy for every villain in the game. So he takes a turn with that good guy. Then it's the next villain. Then the good guy goes. So it alternates. But it uses something I think should be used a lot more. And it's this mechanism that's kind of like the Lord of the Rings trading card game.
And this one's greed.
Yeah, it's greed. Yeah. So like the bad guys have all these greed cards out, and when they use them, they flip over to hope. And now, so the more that the bad guy does, the more that the good guy has to do on his turn.
Okay.
So it was pretty cool. He's still prototyping it, so we won't talk too much about it, but it's coming out.
Is that one coming out pretty soon though, right?
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go to Greenbrier Games and see if they have anything like that. Man, I'm really sad that it did not write the name down. And if it was a comic book I was familiar with, I would have definitely remembered this. Josh is gonna be like, I can't believe you. Coming soon. Let's click that. Maybe that just means coming soon and there's nothing there. No products available. Well, anyway, maybe I'll edit the podcast afterwards and slap that name in there.
Cool.
Well, anyway, so lastly, we went to the Origins Live awards and to the Dice Tower Live. Eric, what do you think about the Origins awards?
No. Was it hosted by the same guys?
Man vs. Meeple?
Man vs. Meeple.
I thought it was... Is that who did it?
Yeah.
Last year, yes.
That was the same guys?
Same as this year.
Was it still like trying to be like a black tie affair kind of feel?
Yeah.
Almost, right. Yeah. They had the publishers and stuff were kind of at the front, at the round tables, and then the spectators were in the back, and then, the Man vs. Meeple people, they were dressed up and looking like a black tie event, sort of. It was a award ceremony. So
yeah, it felt very formal from what I remember.
It was straight boring.
Yeah, and kind of boring.
This was the most boring thing. Look, you're not the Emmys. You're not the Golden Globes. I know you're trying to be, but you got to make this thing funner, like more fun, more entertaining. I'm not saying the Man vs. Meeple guys did not do a good job, because obviously they are within a requirement that Origins is setting forth on them, but it is very dry and just to the point. Some of the videos they did were funny.
Yeah. And some were
And some were just like, well, try hard.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was not impressed, and honestly, I go for the free game.
But doing the same kind of setup is gonna get pretty old. If they do it next year, which they are probably, they did the same thing this year they did last year. They probably asked different questions. It was a lot of the same
formula.
people. Right.
It was a formula. Yeah, I don't know. I can see why. Look, there's a reason why you wanted to you put free games in there to get people to come. Without the free games, this is not worth it. Like, I could just read the results later.
Yeah.
I don't know. It needs to be a little bit more entertaining, I think. And it's not the host's fault. Let me express that, because I feel like it's just the way they want it to be. Like it's some grand black tie thing or whatever.
Right. I
don't know. It was just super boring. But I did get Jacuz from Smirk and Dagger Games.
Yep.
So the Dice Tower Live thing was pretty fun. They have their game show like they did, where they kind of do the Family Feud type thing.
Yeah, I like the Origins one. I'm honestly, the Gen Con one is very, let's bring all the publishers up here to announce something.
Yeah, that's true. It's like an announcement show.
The Origins one's a lot more of a game show feel, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's also after the dealer hall closes, so that's a bonus for me.
What do you mean?
I think at Gen Con they do it.
It's usually
during
like 2:00 usually.
Right, they do it during when the hall is open. But at Origins it was after. It was at like 7 or 8 o'clock.
I thought last year it was Friday at 7 p.m.
Gen Cons?
No, at Gen Cons I've missed 1 or 2 of them because I'm like, I kind of want to run the halls a little bit more.
You know what? Maybe since they've had the big area, that big hall, maybe it's been during the thing. But I think the ones before that, it was later.
That's possible.
Yeah. But I like at Origins that it is late and it's
Yeah.
past the vendor hall.
Right.
But-
Because it doesn't have to take out your vendor hall time.
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's pretty much the rundown. Other than the attendance, unique attendance was last year is 18,648. No, sorry, that is this year's total, up from 17,001.
You know what that percentage is?
Well, I don't know. It's
Okay.
it's 1,000. It's at least over 10% because it
That-
might actually be 20%.
That's a pretty good growth in a year.
Yeah. I mean, take 20,000, just rounding up, and then if you took the 17 and put it to 18, it's 2,000. It's 17. It's almost 1,600 more. So yeah, it's about probably like 17-18% or something. It was quite a bit of jump from the year before that.
Cool.
So. All right. Anything else to add on for Origins that I missed, Eric?
No. Not that I remember.
Good. No, I'm just kidding. All right, we're going to move on to our final topic, which is our top 5 family trips.